You are listening to Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Here are your hosts, Charlie Adams and Timothy Yee.
Welcome to episode 6 of season 2 of Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Charlie Adams here, joined as always by Tim Yeen, and we're kind of in that part of the year. We had it between the fall and winter, and now between the winter and spring, where there's basically no Cranston East sports to talk about.
There is nothing indeed, Chaz, and before we get into stuff, I just want to say that I'm just feeling fantastic today. I'm feeling free. I'm feeling just amazing. Fortunately,
Feel free to talk into your mic a little, and we'll continue
fortunately,
things on. There we go.
I am so depressed as well because I'm wearing a Boston Celtics hoodie.
It looks better than anything else that's probably in your wardrobe.
I mean, to be fair, vomit green, at least looks decent on me compared to the freaks in Boston that are wearing it on the daily and probably just staining it with their Boston messes. But yeah, I'm wearing this because I was caught by administration for wearing a dark pink tie, which was presumably red.
Oh, so clearly red. In Cranston West territory as well.
Hey, I wore the tie to not only blend in with the population and to make sure that anti-East discrimination does not be seen or noticed, but also because of my extreme dear love for my Miami Heat. I mean, I was a fan since a kid. My father's been a fan, and as of late, they've been on a tear. Everyone's in full swing. Jimmy Butler is getting back in there. Tyler Hero, hopefully he's doing some good things. Bam, fantastic. My guy, Jaime Jaquez Jr., making some work, being the solidified second place for Rookie of the Year because we already know who's going to win numero uno. Does Chet Holmgren count as a rookie?
Now, Tim, let me just ask you, how does it feel to be wearing a team that actually can win and compete when it comes to the playoffs?
Are you talking about the Miami Heat?
No, well, you're wearing a Celtics sweater right now, so I don't know.
I haven't seen any proof of that. I haven't seen any proof of that
number one
whatsoever
team
in the last 4 years. Maybe that one time where you got a little bit sneaky with us, and then you guys got whooped by the Warriors, which you guys apparently came back to that by spinning around the block and saying, "Look, we beat you guys by 50 in the regular season," and congratulations! I just have to applaud you guys on beating the Warriors in a regular season matchup to just further solidify your number one record in the East and, to get the easy pickings going on. Like the Celtics usually do.
Well, the Heat are 7-3 in their last 10 and have moved up to 6th place in the Eastern Conference. Last week they were on the bubble of that 8 and 7 slot.
Which you were mocking and criticizing.
Well, there's still time for you guys to fall right back out of the playoff picture.
And there's still time for you guys to just find the tumble
solidified, it seems. I guess, man. But the Celtics are solidified really at the top of the standings with nearly 8 games above the Milwaukee Bucks and just the best team in the league by far, continuing to beat teams. Last night maybe wasn't their best day of performance when they took on the reigning champion Nuggets and fell to them after falling to the Cavs the game before by 1 point.
Yeah.
I believe that might have been a record-breaking performance following that record-breaking win that the Celtics had. Largest fourth quarter comeback loss than NBA history for the Celtics right after having one of the biggest wins ever. And hey, there's plenty of season left. The Suns stink.
Now
Trailblazers stink. The Jazz stink. So Celtics look like they'll continue to roll on and look primed for a good time in the playoffs. And, hopefully the Heat can make it out of the play-in tournament.
Yeah, hopefully, Chaz, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm just gonna let the play do the talking, and if it doesn't talk well, I'll admit my overjudgment. I could say that. And of course, if the Boston Celtics don't find a way to dominate this conference with a supposedly dominant roster, you already know how I feel about that.
Well, we might as well stick it with NBA because you're talking about the Miami Heat. They have a historic star player in D Wade, and now there's a new D Wade on the block, and he did take down the Celtics pretty handedly when they took on the Cavs. He kind of led Cleveland to that win. Dean Wade, I know you're a big fan of this man who isn't the real D Wade, but maybe if he keeps it up, he can take over that prestigious title.
Yeah. I mean, D Wade is not going to be as, stellar and historic as D Wade. But if, as long as, you beat the Celtics, I think you're a legend in my book, especially this season where they've been overfed with the food of success and have barely taken a slice out of that humble pie throughout the entire season. And, Chaz wearing Red Sox stuff, I'm sure they're going to have a terrific time this season as they try to recover the Celtics' playoff destruction of themselves. Jason Tatum turning into that one dude that looks like Tatum on TikTok. Jaylen Brown, right arm getting amputated. Kristaps Porzingis probably gonna blow his knee or something. Derek White is gonna grow back his hair, and it's gonna look even more awful than before, causing him to get awful play. Let's see who else. Al Horford just dying on the court due to old age. And Drew Holiday, I don't even know what Drew Holiday's up to, but he's probably gonna suck in the playoffs. And who else? Peyton Pritchard, probably going to get gobsmacked because he's a little midget. I think that's Luke Cornett. What even is a Luke Cornett? I don't know. I don't see the vision, Chaz.
Well, all right. Well, note to self to never let Tim's mind wander for that long of a period because that's what you end up with. Okay.
I end up with true facts and hard takes.
Well, there was some esports that we can talk about. The esports team season winded down, and it didn't go our way, but we do have some historic kind of awards in a historic season, really.
Yeah, their second season of play at this point. First year eSport head coach, Mr. Blake Danforth, got him to the semifinals, but lost to Cheraho, unfortunately.
That was a big matchup, too. The Chargers' only loss on the year was to Cranston East, and then they got their revenge in the playoffs over when it mattered most at Any Tech.
Yep.
So, some good storylines coming out of the esports world.
Yeah, and Miles Darconti, first team all Mario Kart.
Friend of the program.
Yeah, Justin Mazelmalier. The second team, all Mario Kart, all state for both of them. They just played a huge and tremendous role this season in bringing the Mario Kart team to those levels and resulting in that undefeated regular season. And I'd like to think that they played close versus Cheraho. I mean, they got shut out. I mean, I think those were the two pieces that really moved, the running bulldozer.
Wow.
Kind of forgot my construction terms.
Wow. Well, so the winter sports are in the books, and we are gearing up for a good spring season in the coming weeks. We'll cover more closely what the teams are shaping up to be. There's baseball, softball, boys lacrosse, and plenty of other sports, boys volleyball as well, to take up our time here on the program. And all the track and field sports. I know we had good coverage of those sports last year on Thunderbolt Sports Media's Instagram page. We'll see about this year, but it's going to be an exciting spring season, and we'll have it all for you on Thunderbolt Sports Talk. But
Fantastic.
it's pretty much all the Cranston East sports news.
Mm-hmm.
But there is East news as well as, the NHS is back and underway in community serving and all that goodness. And we did the Snowflake project earlier in the year, but we're back with lunch bags, and I know you experienced the great, fantastic feeling of being for the kids and making your lunch bags. How did that go?
Oh, it went fantastic, Chaz. I mean, I utilized my creativity to its full potential.
I don't know.
They gave us magazines.
Was that good?
Yeah, they gave us magazines to, cut out and stick onto our lunch bags. And, with our good friend and, student of some of our fellow classes, Wilson Chavez Jingo not being there, and there being a Taylor Swift magazine, you already know that I had to cut it out and do it for the girls. Because, for the girls with free lunch, they deserve to be eating lunch with their potential idol, Taylor Swift. And
okay.
Do you have a problem with that?
I mean, you were the guy bashing
like
Taylor Swift a couple of weeks ago.
I mean, I understand that, but we're looking for the kids here, Chaz. I mean,
kind of an interesting switch up.
Look.
When
And
she
Taylor
was
Swift,
really introduced to the NFL world.
I'm talking about Taylor Swift, the role model, not Taylor Swift, the annoying person that's always showing up 18 billion seconds. And for the little kids, they don't really care about that. They don't really care about that, Chaz. They just want to listen to some Taylor Swift tunes, and I decided to be able to make that into a reality by turning her into a lunch bag.
Nice. Well, the NHS also has a YouTube page, CHSE National Honor Society, and it kind of picked up some traction. There's a bunch of book readings from all of the members of the National Honor Society, 166 subscribers, and the most viewed video has 46,000 views. Boucher Can's reading of Curious You on Your Way is leading the pack in some pretty impressive numbers for this book reading.
Yeah.
It seems to be a popular and successful project that we did.
Congratulations to Boucher. I mean,
our Evan Morrell has 742 views, and plenty of views going around. Tim Yeen putting up some Tony Snell numbers here with a abysmal 10 views. How many of those are you, Tim? I have 14.
A 4-view difference. A 4-view difference.
I have 14. So
oh, you just had to tell the public that. Let's just say we're both failures at making compelling and vigorous storytelling. The views don't really matter. It's about the quality of the content. Obviously,
I think mine was definitely higher quality.
Yeah, definitely yours might have been higher quality, but what did that cost you? 4 extra views? You took the extra time out of your day for 4 extra views versus
that was kind of a rushed project. I think I had to hurry my way on to a Cranston East football game.
So we're turning.
Finished it in time though.
We're turning from.
I showed up to that game after it started. You remember that?
I do remember that, but
now we're
turning
5 minutes late.
Now we're turning from a quality product to a rush one.
It's a rush product, but it's still better than yours. So
I'm not gonna deny that. I'm just saying you're twisting the narrative once again.
If you're wondering who has the least views, it's Sophie Vorparian with 2. All right.
Okay.
So the National Honor Society rolls on. Check out the YouTube channel for all the book talks of all the members.
Yeah, I also just want to say that Charlie Adams has not created his lunch bag yet, so what does that tell you about his sincerity and his affectionatism towards the free lunch cause that many of our students here in Cranston
good thing there's plenty of dates. Good thing there's plenty of dates.
Oh, look, I was told that you'd be doing it on Thursday, and now you're going to be doing it on Monday. And what's going to happen on Monday? You're not going to show up.
We woke up on Thursday. As a collective, we said, as a collective of people that we were going to do the lunch bags with, we said, we're not doing this today. We're not trying to do it today.
As a collective.
It was a rainy day. Everyone knows it was a rainy day. And I would have had to come back after 2 periods. No one's trying to do that. Larry had practice. He couldn't stay. Larry couldn't go. he had practice, so we moved it to Monday, and we'll be there,
So
and we'll make a lunch bag 10 times better than what yours is.
What I'm essentially hearing is that you're leaving the kids hungrier for 3 more days. That's
your
what I'm hearing.
bags are sitting in a pile, and your bags will be on the bottom
No,
of the
my
pile
bags-
because the newer ones are going on top, which is going to be me, Larry, Junior, Evan, and Emmett's bag, all stacking up on top of your bag, literally and mentally on top of your bag as a better bag that the students will enjoy more, that the people will prefer.
Once you put a little green, like little 3-leaf, 4-leaf clover, they're gonna start vomiting inside their lunch bags. You know, they're gonna make it look like a doggy bag after they have your lunch bag, Chaz.
Seems racist against Irish people.
See, I'm just hateful of the Boston Celtics today, Chaz. I don't think the kids should be eating from a loser's lunch bag. That's all I'm trying to say.
So a loser with the most rings in the NBA, along with the Lakers.
How many of those rings were won in your lifetime?
One. How many of the Heat's rings were won when you were a real Heat fan? Probably none.
2.
Probably none. I mean, this is a bandwagon. You can say
No.
it's not. But being a Diamondbacks fan, a Miami Heat fan,
The Diamondbacks fan was
doesn't
a
add up.
recommendation to Mr. Simone. You can ask him that right now if you have your phone on him. You can ask him. He's gonna say, "I asked him what the worst team in the MLB was, so I can root for them." And he was like the Arizona Diamondbacks.
and you forgot about the entire suggestion
And I basically forgot about it.
until they were in the World
I
Series.
found it a complimentary piece to
Oh, this is
boost it
convenient.
out.
Oh, this is convenient. Wow. Good thing I'm a fan of the team in the World Series. Wow, great. Can't wait to see them next year. But you won't be able to see them next year because you don't watch baseball, and you're not even going to be here for April. So you're missing the start of the year
Oh well.
in the baseball season, and you're
I'm
missing.
gonna be so sad about me losing the beginning of the baseball season.
Well, in April, hopefully we can find some compelling guest hosts that maybe share some more views about the Boston Celtics being an actual decent team.
Maybe our producer can come in time and replace my role and just
Well,
continue to
you can't really trust that. Maybe we can rotate out, get some Emmett Billings appearance. Maybe he's been begging some of these people that have no reason to be on the program as a special guest, but maybe as a guest host, they have something to offer. Angel Santana, whenever he decides to show up to school, could be a good idea. He loves to talk about Kyrie Irving for no reason at all, and all this
I
information.
respect it. Why not? Talk about your favorite guy.
Well, I mean,
are you not?
there's levels. There's levels, and he goes above those levels.
I'm never really hearing you being defensive of the Tatums or Jaylen Browns of the world. I'm always seeing
Also,
on the Twitter side.
It is a bandwagon whenever you are going from player to player. If you're a LeBron fan,
player.
you can't be a LeBron fan and not call yourself a bandwagon if your favorite team was the Cavaliers and now it's the Lakers. That's not allowed. Everyone knows that's not allowed. That's not how you're supposed to be a fan. You stick to your team, and that's your team.
You can't be a fan of players' games.
You can't call that your favorite team. That's how it goes. You can be your favorite player, but you can't say, "Oh, my favorite team's the Lakers," because that's where LeBron is. And then, "Oh yeah, as a fan, I've seen like I've seen all of LeBron's rings." Like, what? You can't claim all that. That's not allowed. That's not allowed as a fan, and those people disrespect the sport when they are rooting for players like that and then changing that into their favorite team. It's not good, and it should be stopped immediately.
Seems like a lot of things. Seems like a lot of jealousy. You like compensating for the ring number.
What ring number? The Celtics are literally the winningest team.
The winningest
What are we
team.
talking about?
They had like 18 billionaire championships back when the players were plumbers,
Okay, buddy.
school teachers.
Well,
5'11".
your Miami
little
Heat head coach,
midgets.
Coach Spo, won Eastern Conference Coach of the Month, but the Eastern Conference Player of the Month was who but Jason Tatum.
Oh, so now you're bringing up the Tatum.
There's always a Celtics tie-in when there's NBA basketball, and of course there is because they're the best team in the league.
And when it comes playoff time and when Tatum's not hitting their shots and when Jaylen Brown forgets that he has another hand to utilize and when Kristaps Porzingis eventually gets, I don't know, a slight toe, numb ankle, whatever thing, injury type, and when the entire Boston Celtics team and Joe Mazzulla doesn't know how to coach the game of basketball, and we're all going to be looking at Boston media, and what are they going to say? These Celtic teams are frauds. These Celtic teams should not have been here in the first place. These Celtic teams were overrated. They have no depth. They have no nothing. And that is why I'm not really buying into the Celtics hype right now.
Well, let's move over to the video game world once again because we heard news for the new NCAA football game that Arch Manning will be not part of the game. One of the major opt-outs that we've heard of since we know that these athletes are being offered $600 and a free copy of the game to be included. And it seemed like a lot of players have been taking it. Arch Manning, I feel like, is the first big one that we've heard of not taking it. So you won't have a backup to Quinn Ewers during your play as the Texas Longhorns. But who cares?
Yeah, but that is why I, Timothy Yeen, am committing to the University of Texas as a quarterback so I can take Arch Manning's spot, hook 'em horns, go Texas, go Longhorns, hashtag roll Texas. Definitely going to Texas, definitely not considering any other options, definitely not wanting to stay close to home.
Well, the NFL Madden franchise gets a lot of flack from EA, but apparently the EA college football should be an entirely different game by entirely different people. So there should be hope that it will actually be a fun game to play. WWE 2Ks are fully released now, and MLB The Show is coming out in about a week's time, a little more. Tim, will you be on MLB The Show when it releases?
No.
Oh, my, come on. This guy plays Tekken and Madden, and that's it.
What's wrong with Tekken?
And that's
what's
it.
wrong?
Nothing.
Every time I hear you play something, there's always you just complaining about Rainbow Six Siege.
Nothing this man plays besides Madden and Tekken.
All you do is just complain to me about Rainbow Six
and
Siege.
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, that's mostly my dad, but I still play that. And either way, I still whoop you in that. Tekken, I just love the game. What's wrong with just enjoying a game really, really
Just pick up MLB The Show. It used to be
I play Civ 6,
PlayStation.
I play Terraria.
Civ, what are we talking about? These games. I mean, just pick up MLB The Show.
What's wrong with
It's the best sports game that you can buy. It's the only one that's actually run by people that care.
I understand that the
just
show is a
buying
well-made.
EA
I understand
and 2K
the show
products
is a well-made
every
game.
time.
But baseball.
And here we go with
Oh
Madden.
my
I'm
God.
not playing you in Madden all this time. Face me in MLB The Show.
Well, I'm not gonna face you in MLB The Show because I don't want to play MLB The Show, and like you said, Chaz. I'm not really into baseball. I guess you could say I'm a bandwagon. I'm gonna admit it right there. Diamondbacks. I probably bandwagon, but from the start, I was just genuinely there. I just didn't really care too much about the sport, and then I still don't care about the sport, and I still don't care about you and.
Well, now you're not caring
that are playing
about the sport.
Playing like headless zebras. Apparently, in your siege matches, causing your rank to fall down to Poopster 1.
Well, we don't need to get into my siege stack throwing my rank. It happens all the time. I've been hard stuck gold 5 because of these guys, and it's no fault of my own. I'm a dedicated support operator, and I do my job. I do my job. It doesn't matter about the KD or nothing because I do what I'm asked of, and I do it well. But you're missing out on one of the greatest sports franchises because you refuse to expand your sports knowledge to one of the greatest sports in the world.
All right, Chaz.
The national pastime.
What other games do you partake in other than, mainly Siege and the show?
Well, there's Siege the show. There's WWE is looking great this year. It's pretty fun from what I've played. I need to get into the story mode and things. Trying to get into my faction a little. It's all right. It's one of those Ultimate Team modes. They're all kind of the same. But, there's always sports games. I'm always down for a sports game. I'm good at FIFA. You can ask Ashton, our producer, who somehow made his way into the building today. I beat him every time. I think our record right now is 4-4 with 9 draws or something crazy. But, when I'm locked in on these games, I'm unbeatable. And it's sports games. It's just like the fun games that are classic multiplayer games with your friends. Overcooked 2 is also deserving its own shout-out because playing that is always a good time despite it being a stressful game.
All right, to the kids watching this, is this the big ego you want in your lunch bag? I say no. I say no.
Well, Tim, we haven't talked about it in a while. Let's talk about your tenure as student council president because it's in its final stages, just a semester to go. We're in the middle of the third quarter. Progress reports dropped recently. What has the student council done in a while? We were talking about a spirit week. It was going to be finals week in February. It was going to be a 2-day week before that. It was crazy.
Did you want it to be a 2-day week?
I mean, that's what you were gunning for. It's right up with your MO.
Gunning. It was just.
You said, we're going to do this on a 2-day week.
Unlucky luck of a
and
draw.
guess what? Guess what's so convenient? That we can't even plan a spirit week without 2 of the days being predetermined. So it would have been a colored day and a school day, and it would have been rough. But we haven't heard anything about it since. So what's going on?
We're in the works, Chaz. I mean,
we're in the
look,
works.
you've already done the homecoming stuff. You've already done the
keeping us in the
stuff.
weeds. It's not in the works. We don't know what's going on. We need some communication from student council to the students.
All right, here's some communication. I will be in contact with Mr. Barberry today to finalize the next Spirit Week, okay?
So no traction has been made from the previous time we've talked to now. There's gears turning, but no wheels moving forward.
If you would love to,
it's almost as worse as a class council.
If you would love to, Chaz, I would be happy to hire you as my public media relations person for the student council, but you won't. You want to know why?
I don't work with dysfunction.
You want to know why? Because you don't want to help the dysfunction.
I don't work with dysfunction.
You look at the poverty and you decide to do nothing about it. You look at the poor kids that aren't starving and you're doing nothing about it. You're deciding to push it all the way back just like our big government, and you are not doing anything about it. You're shouting and yapping at the problems, but what are you doing about it? Nothing.
You know how they say a rising tide lifts all boats? Well, you know what they say about a sinking ship? You go and scavenge the resources. I'm waiting for your sink. Your ship to sink, and I'm waiting to take over.
And apparently that sink has not sunk yet.
Sink has not sunk. I thought I was messing up my words.
The ship has not sunk yet.
All right, well, we have time, and it is coming up shortly where the fall of class council has been building, the fall of student council has been building.
Sunk,
and soon it might just be the Chaz the dictatorship.
Even if the ship has sunk, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You're not going to do nothing. You are going to stay at the beach side and just watch the fireworks.
I'm going to be on the boat with my leg up on the front of the ship like George Washington crossing the river and pulling up, taking over, and turning this school great again, No. I'm going to make Cranston East great again, but you're in my way.
No, you're going to be on the top deck in your luxury room and making all the people that work with you, the camera people, everyone, all that, our poor producer, every one of the camera people you've worked with, you're going to make them work in the mud and fetch out those resources for you so you can take all the benefits. I've heard this story 1 billion times.
Really? Interesting. Well, Tim, you're all for democracy. So why don't you tell us about the half a bag of cereal and why this is such a big issue in just America as a whole?
I'm just saying, the buying power of the dollar has decreased to a point where we're putting cereal halfway now. I mean, come on. How are we supposed to be a nutritionally functioning society and have half a bag of cereal for the same price as a full bag of cereal? I just don't see it making sense, Chaz. I mean, look what we're doing nowadays. I mean, at the AMP, which we haven't talked about yet, we should talk about it. I wanted to feel like a fan and, went up to the concessions because, I wanted to see what the fan experience was like. I wanted to see
no one knows why you would do that.
The people would do
as a member as a member of the media, you are pretty much allowed to bring in whatever food and beverage
as a member,
that you
a member of the media,
want. I had my own
as a member
Propels,
of the
of course.
media.
I had my own water, and here you come strolling on down
and
with
as a
this
member of the
$8
media,
Coke, this $20 popcorn, and it wasn't even warm. It wasn't even buttery. It wasn't salty. It was just popcorn, and that was after they already brought in food for us as
And
the
he
media, and they had the vending machines
I'm just
with
saying,
some
as a
okay
member,
prices.
as a member of the media, it's my job to make sure the truth is laid out to the world. I just wanted to make sure the truth is out that you should not be paying $18 for a drink and popcorn.
Well, there's really not many people who go to the AMP and actually buy things from the concession stand. It's like a known thing around here that the Dunkin' Donut Center, the AMP, sells some of the most expensive, outrageously up-priced items that you can get. So you got bamboozled, and that's tough for you. But I just want to go back for a second to your student council presidency, because there has to be some question now that we know that you were fudging numbers for a long time before high school.
I was what?
You were fudging the numbers a long time before high school.
I'm not sure how.
I'm not sure how
fudging the numbers of my student council president reflects to my ticket scandal back in the 4th grade, which I will explain in good detail.
There better be a good reason, because I might have to take this to administration.
To administration about my 4th grade shenanigans.
If it happened in 4th grade, it surely could happen
Here's another thing. I want you guys to listen to this. Yeah, this dude Chaz is always bringing up the past, is unoptimistic about the future, and that is why we are going nowhere as a country, because we have these people that look to the past and say, why aren't we doing this right now? And it's because they're not doing anything about it in the now. They're always looking back, never looking forward, and that's the problem.
Or maybe it's the people in power not using their power to make a successful change. And, hey, I'm kind of on the sideline right now, and you are kind of in power, and we're not seeing much.
All right, well, if you came to the meeting, maybe you would help. Maybe you could advise how I should, expand or, just make my power more known to Cranston Easters.
Well, Tim, let's hear why you attempted and successfully improved your prize chances during the 4th grade before getting caught.
All right, so we did these little grammar check things, and it was fix the sentences. If there's nothing wrong, don't, And then we had the option of giving it to a partner or a friend. And so the table is stacked, or the tables are two per. It was desks, but it was 2 people next to each other. And we decided, me and my friend decided of the awesome idea of just swapping each other's papers, and if you got it wrong, we just did a little correction on them. And it worked for a good couple weeks or so. We got 10 tickets for always getting it right, and went well. I mean, we parted tickets to get some cool prizes, some very nice stuff, and it worked until we then got caught, because the teacher decided then and now that after all the suspicions that she decided to look at our table, and then we got caught, and then we got reprimanded in front of the classroom.
You wouldn't do that again? If you could go back, you wouldn't repeat your actions?
Well, I was a 4th grader at that time, so, you have a young mind, and
no remorse.
When that mind is focused on winning, you gotta take your chances to win. Of course, I'm remorseful about that now, but back then, if you looked at the prizes, they were cool. They were cool.
Well, you see, the only time I ever got in trouble with administration during elementary school was also in the 4th grade, but I was framed, and it was a very unfortunate case, and it cost me my recess for that day. That was the only...
What were you framed for?
Only problem, I was at school, and I was instructed before I left school to turn on the crock pot and get dinner going for when we got home, and I forgot to turn on the crock pot, and it was a worry of mine when I arrived, so I had to call my parents, or that's what I wanted to do, let them
grade?
know.
The 4th grade?
4th grade, and I went to the main office, asked to call my parents, and they said, no, we're going to call them for you. And I wasn't going to do that. That makes no sense. Let me just call my parents and get it handled quick and easy. So I went back to class, and my teacher saw my worry, saw my inability to perform as a student with this stressful thought on my mind, and graciously allowed me to use her phone to call my parents and make sure I could get the crock pot going. Our neighbor could help out, turn it on, and we could have a nice dinner. So I went out to the hallway to take this call, and up comes our principal from the staircase, hits me with a point from across the hallway, and tells me to get off the phone, and takes away my recess for no reason whatsoever, because all I was trying to do was make sure my family could have food on the table. And she came up that I was like using my phone. It wasn't even my phone. And making a call. I was just trying to make sure my family was okay. It cost me recess. It was a rainy day. It was an indoor recess. I could care less. I went out in the hallway, read a book for 20 minutes, came back in, did my time, and it taught me a lesson to not trust those who say they have the best in mind for you when you know that they really don't, because they never called my parents like they said they would. It was all on my hands, or we weren't eating that night.
That was not only a very good story, Chaz. I mean, I feel, but also a sad one, because I now see that the nobility that you once had to call your parents for that crock pot dinner to make sure it was all ready was lost somewhere during your aging process.
I don't know about that.
I don't see the you today making that phone call. I don't see the you today.
I'd probably text them.
Yeah, I don't see the you today making either that
phone.
text or that phone call or anything of the sort. Because I don't think you have it in you, Chaz.
I don't know where you would draw that from.
I don't think you have the humility. I don't think you have the respect. I don't think you have the kindness to go out.
I'm kind of the king of updates. I don't know if you are familiar with my game. I'm kind of the king of updates when it comes to keeping my parents informed on where I'm at, when I'm there, and when I'm home. They know it. I'm locked in. I'm still the same old kid that I was in the 4th grade, still trying to make this world a better place, one step at a time. And I think that was very disrespectful and very misconstrued of you to take that story and turn it into that point.
I guess if you're the same person, I guess that crock pot is still not turned on and there's still no dinner at that table, just like the hundreds of kids that are starving because you decided to choose a Monday instead of a Thursday to work on your lunch bag.
Your bag is sitting in a pile. I don't know why you went back to that. It has not moved since you made it.
I'm just saying, I took the initiative.
Okay.
What have you done to help?
Welcome to the bottom of the pile,
get to
pal.
America. Always think about the bottom, but never doing anything about the bottom.
Okay. Okay, buddy. Pipe down, buddy. You know, our producer really wanted us to mention one thing before we get over to the AMP. The NFL Combine happened. All right. Let's move
Xavier
on.
Worthy 4-2-1.
Yeah, congrats. You might have moved your draft stock up. We also heard Nick Saban talk about college football and say these kids, they just want the money. They don't care about winning anymore.
You're such a negative Nancy.
That's what he said. All right. And one more before we get to the AMP, just so we can close out on a high note. ELA class, let's just talk about it quickly. We got some assignments in. We got some assignments coming up for our research paper. Outline and sources went good, and we're moving on.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the AMP now. Me and Chaz, if he can just finish up his little cough attack. Maybe it's the saliva of the poor children.
What? Oh my God.
Me and Chaz were at the AMP to cover the.
I was talking for a while.
Some of the D4.
I was talking for a while.
D4, D3 girls divisional championships on Monday, and then went to the D1 championships on Wednesday with Chaz to cover the games between NK and Barrington and LaSalle versus Classical, and Chaz stops choking on the sweat of his laborers. We can get into that. Chaz, what do you think of the AMP?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good venue. I liked my seats, and it was a great game as a whole. came for one reason, and it was worth it because our good friend Abdul Evans handled the business really after missing nearly every shot. When it mattered most, he was at the line and got the game-winning point to go ahead and win it. You kept notes. You wrote articles. I kept notes as well. The place was fire. We had George Bannister there. It was
like the entire media there. You got George
the whole
Bannister,
field.
Eric Rube, Bill Koch, Jake Rousseau, who's new to the community now or back in the community.
We have WPRI 12, ABC 6, and a lot of other places of media there attending. And I saw a pretty good edit, too, that was made immediately after. From the stands, some good shots were recorded. We
had a lot of people come over, even people not from LaSalle and Classical. We had some, so a dude from Smithfield, Miss Noman's son, editing. I'm sure we had a multitude of other peoples. I mean, I know there was just a lot of interest for a marquee matchup such as this.
Yeah, we also had some TSM members as well in the stands and Cranston East students.
Larry. I'm not sure who else I'm thinking of.
There was Ashton, Darius, Caillou.
Oh. I thought he showed up after the game because
No, he was actually early, which was surprising because he's never early, depending on anything that actually impacts besides this game. He was there on time. It was actually kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
So I guess it is possible for him to show up on time. And it was a sign of what winning looks like. Obviously, Cranston East was not there. And maybe they won't be there for a while, but it's something to strive for and something to look forward to if we ever see the Thunderbolts rise up and strike the AMP.
If they're going to keep holding at the AMP, hopefully the Thunderbolts, in some way, shape, or form, get to it. Hopefully Phil Goddard, Dave Delfino, maybe bring back the Cranston East hockey team. Maybe don't, have just basically a co-op. Maybe we can actually have some true Cranston East hockey again. Maybe they go to Schneider, which I believe they're holding that there.
Yep.
So that's a very nice venue.
Couple games today, and then championship on March 17th, same day as the state championship for basketball.
What time is hockey?
1.
1?
And the state championship is at 6. So it should work out fine.
All right.
Tim, with his popcorn again, he's eating it like an addict, and he wasn't sharing space too well. 50-50, man. We got a table. The napkins were over the line. I corrected the error, and we moved on. They have a writing room, which is cool to see, with the nice interview room right adjacent. Cool setup, reminded me of 2K. And, yeah, it was nice to see that. Nice writing room, nice KFC. First time ever having KFC. Had one nugget. It was pretty good. That was it. All I had.
Sure.
Tim had some fries.
I'm sure you had some fries, too.
I think I had one singular fry, but it was cold. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Tim wasn't a fan of the crowd over at the AMP, at least for the girls' game starting off.
I just thought it was a little bit dead. It was just, quiet. Nothing really exciting. It was just quiet.
And then out of the bald ref, there was a great ref point that I made sure to mark down. It was the glossy bald guy, not the scruffy bald, just to be specific.
All right. Okay, now you're just looking at people's, baldness levels.
And, Abdul served as point guard and kind of ran things for the Classical Purple up the court and was playing a lot of iso ball. He also was the initiator of most offense that Classical had on their comeback victory. And they kind of were playing too fast early on, getting killed on the boards. But as the game went on, there was more threes falling, and they were really picking up the pace and putting themselves in a winning position. This team could definitely go back to back.
Azzy Harrison, those clutch threes in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
You can read all about it, actually, on tbsportsmedia.com. I actually covered both girls and boys games.
Wow.
So, If you want to read that, tvsportsmedia.com. The 2 latest articles. You can just read that and go on with your day. 5 and 3 minute reads, 5 for the boys, 3 minutes for the girls. All quick, all readable reads. So check it out.
I don't think Classical made a substitution the entire game. It was pretty impressive to see. They had a bench, they didn't use it, and they won with all 5 players that started the game.
They got some crazy. They got some crazy guys. I mean, you got the sophomore Elizabeth Delbrie and Devin Sohn. Obviously Azzy, Abdul Evans, and even Jordan Duke.
Yep.
By the way, related to the NBA player, David Duke.
Duke Jr.
Yeah, David Duke Jr.
And, our own Larry Yin did take down David Duke Jr.'s Paul Cuffey in middle school during 8th grade. So,
Wow.
pretty good performance. The only memorable moment that followed up an undefeated championship year for the Parkview Cougars, who are apparently hot garbage now. Doesn't bode well for the future of Cranston East, but hey, it's all right. Classical looks like a strong team for the state championship, and people think that Lincoln out of D2 can give them a run for their money. I don't know, man. This is an undefeated team. We'll see. When we get there in March 17th at URI, of course, they have to make their way through the tournament first, but that might be the matchup we'll be seeing over in Rhodey. And for this program, we're kind of running up on the time limit here with 47 minutes to go, and it's just about 8:55. So, Tim, any final thoughts?
All I have to say is I feel like today we really showed our true colors to the people of Cranston East.
Well, I think you came in a little hot, and I had to subdue that because you were talking crazy, and I'm glad that we could sort things out because I don't know where you're coming from, but all I know is the student council needs to pick up the pace a little.
All right. We can do that.
Can you? Well, the Heat can't, and the Celtics continue to roll on. Tim, sign us off.
Do it for the kids.